always got to look at is whether or not they like him or not. They all, in their own minds, I don't care anybody. If you're going for a GM job and you're back in your mind, you know who you want to be the coach of the team eventually. So that's kind of why I say I don't think it would be as much as I think it would be right to give give Bruce an extension. I don't think it'd be the right thing to do to the new GM. You're kind of already taking away his legs, and the only way it makes sense to give him a 1-year extension is if you are willing to eat it. If all of a sudden you do decide at the end of the year that it's time to replace him, and the thing with I think a 1-year extension that would be good is then it's not in the back of his mind, then it's not in the players' minds, and it's not in the reporters' minds every time they have a big loss. He's coaching for the right reasons, not just survival mode. So.
All right, we're going to go to one more question and maybe a final thought if Michael has it in him. I just want to remind you, Tin Shed MN is the website. They have the NFL Sunday Ticket. They're home to the Bills and Packers fan clubs. They have pull tabs, 3 parties rooms with arcade games, which you're sitting in right now. Great for birthday parties, team parties, corporate events. Tin Shed MN for deals, upcoming sporting events, or to book a party. And thanks again to Tin Shed for sponsoring the program. Yes, sir.
Question on how Matt Dumba's doing on his recovery.
He is. All I know on Matt Dumba is what I see on his Instagram, which is somebody that's working his absolute butt off. That looks to me like he's 100%. Now, what's that mean? He's definitely going to be ready for the season, and he was supposed to be. What's it mean in terms of his on-ice production? I mean, if you know Matt, he's going to be a wild stallion out there. Is he going to be the same guy with the same shot that he was last December? Who knows? I've got to think that there will be a little mental thing that he'll have to cross over on the ice, like all major injuries. I mean, this was a major injury. And by the way, the one thing with him is that his rehab, there were some setbacks. I mean, he was having, secretly, there were some infection issues that he was dealing with and all sorts of stuff that really never got out into the public eye. So I just think that there's going to be those times where it's like we're going to have to see how his shot is, how he takes a hit, how he inflicts a hit. But Matt's a pretty confident guy if you know him. So my guess is that he's going to be back to the way he was eventually.
I do have a second part.
Yep.
With how intense that Calgary game was, where he kind of got underneath their skin, do you think they should have brought somebody up when they came back to Minnesota here, or St. Paul, to maybe answer the bell for him? And kind of
I mean, the question is who. I mean, like down in Iowa, I don't know why I looked at Brett, but he seems to know that team pretty well, but I'm trying to remember their roster.
The guy that
Hunter Warner, Liambas.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, to me, it's like then all of a sudden it's like you're setting the tone for the game by bringing up Mike Liambas. I mean, I hear what you're saying. It's so easy after the fact. And what's the chances that Matt Dumba, was going to tear his pec in a fight? Has anybody ever heard of that before? It's just. I mean, for the history of hockey, whether it's first of all, the hit that Matt Dumba inflicted, one was clean, and two, regardless the timing of it, that's a bunch of crap. That Calgary was saying that, but regardless, for the history of hockey, players the next game have had to answer for something that happened the game before. It's happened forever. I've talked to Brad May about this 1,000 times. He knew that after his Kim Janssen hit, that next time that he was going to face the Minnesota Wild, that he had to fight Derek Boogaard. I always pronounce Boogaard by the way it's really pronounced, which is Bogard. But there's an example, and for my entire career, so. To say that the Wild should have brought up a toughie for that game, I just think that's probably pushing it. I wouldn't have done it. That's for sure.
You got a final thought?
No. Although I will tell you, somebody's gonna have to give me an iPhone 10 tutorial. This whole Face ID thing. You don't even know your Apple ID, Brian. But this whole Face ID thing is freaking it's creepy. I don't like looking at my phone. It's like, oh yeah, it's you, and it opens up.
I know my wife has one of those, and I have a phone from 1942.
I was flying to where was I flying last month? To Denver, maybe. I was flying to Denver for the Trampled show, and it was like those early morning flights at MSP. It's like on a weekday. it is like out the door, the security. And I have TSA pre-check, and it was like 1,000 deep. So I like quickly signed up for clear. And the whole time I'm doing it, it's like, you're doing the retina thing and the fingerprint thing. I'm like, this. It's like, all right, my privacy's gone.
Did your past transgressions pop up on the screen?
Yeah, exactly. But I figured it's fine. My Nexus, the country of Canada knows my retinas really well. Like, Nexus, yeah, that's how they get into that country. Is like,
I haven't been to Canada so long, I'd forgotten it.
Yeah, so that's my final thought. Whoa, that was a riveting final thought.
That was a riveting final thought.
I'm going to, I am trying to advance besides just doing a GM search. I am working on a bunch of really cool features to get ready for training camp. And later this month, I'm doing a really cool story, a behind-the-scenes story on some of the Wild employees and what they do to get ready for the year. Tomorrow, I'm flying to Boston to sit down with a player and his family tomorrow to do a big feature, which, I mean, if you're a Wild fan, it's very easy to figure out who that player is. And then, and it's not Charlie. Although I might try to see, I will see Charlie tomorrow night, actually. So actually, it's funny. We always think that the Beauty League is like the only league that does this, but they have an incredible, in Foxborough, Massachusetts, the McAvoys, all the Eichels, all the kind of New England guys playing a Wednesday night league there. And so tomorrow at 6:10, I think it is Eastern time, I'm going to watch those guys. So I'll actually see Charlie and a bunch of those guys play hockey tomorrow. So I'll kind of get to see what it's like beyond just the Minnesotans doing that. So I'm working on that feature. I'm working on a really cool feature on a league employee. I won't say who. That's a Minnesotan. That's just going to be a fabulous, fun. I don't know if I'll write it fabulous, but if I write it right, it'll be a really cool story at some point here. So there are really cool stories beyond just to try to set the table for training camp coming up here. So.
Thanks to Michael. Thanks to Tin Shed. Thanks to everybody who came out once again. We really do appreciate it. I know we see some old friends here who don't always make it, including Lonnie and Bill and everybody else. Thanks for being here. Give Michael a round of applause, please, and we'll see you on August 29th. And also Brandon. Carlos Brandon deserves an ovation too.
Pretty little city built on a hillside. Music in the bars and fire in the sky. We went to the beach and it was covered in ice. And I used to call it home. So much coming out, there's